Hello and welcome to this ALINT-PRO tutorial. My name is Brandon, and today I'll be talking about waivers within ALINT-PRO. I'll jump right into it by explaining what waivers are within this context. They're essentially flags for particular parts of your design that you may wish to ignore when it comes to rule checking. Now, that doesn't mean to use them to hide real bugs within the design, but there are some good reasons to include waivers. Some reasons you may want to do this include waiving violations that have low priority for your particular design. Or perhaps you may feel a certain RTO violation to be over pessimistic and wish to waive that particular rule. No matter the reason though, let's go ahead and get into how to actually add and manage these waivers. Now there are three types of waivers, and depending on how you add a waiver, it'll fall into one of these categories. The first type is an all rules waiver, and this type of waiver does exactly what its name implies. It waives a particular origin of all rules. An origin here will refer to directories, files, design units, or instances. We can add something like this via pretty much any viewer that provides access to these origins. For example, from the file browser, I can choose to waive the entire source directory by right-clicking on it and selecting Add Waiver, like so. To remove that waiver, I can simply right-click on it again and choose the Remove Waiver option. This, once again, can be done with files, design units, and instances, simply by doing that same right-click Add Waiver process within their respective viewers. The next type of waiver is that for a particular rule within an origin. These types of waivers can be added from within the violation viewer, and this is done by right-clicking on a particular rules node and adding the waiver there. Any violation that falls under that rule is now waived. And then finally, the third type of waiver is similarly added, as it is used to waive individual violations. So, for example, instead of waiving the entire rule here, let me just remove it real quick, I can expand it to the individual violations and choose to waive a specific one instead. We can see another option here for these types of waivers as well, and that's the option to add a comment. Selecting this option adds the waiver like normally, but also prompts us for a comment. And here we can add perhaps a reason for why we decided to waive this particular rule or violation. The comment will now show up within the violation viewer next to the waived violation. As we can see, whenever we waive something, it'll show up grayed out here within the violation viewer. To help clear up this window a bit, we can go ahead and filter out waivers by deselecting this option here. This will remove all the grayed out results. Conversely, if we wish to see only those items that have been waived, we can deselect the relevant violation options here and turn the filtered violation options back on. No matter how or what type of waivers you add, you can always find and modify whatever waivers you do have active within the waivers editor, found within the project properties under linting. Not only can we see all of our waivers along with any of their comments, but we can also add new ones and modify existing ones. These options here allow you to add those origins mentioned earlier, and once an origin is added, we'll just quickly add a file, for example. We can decide to waive all rules for that origin, or just add a specific rule to it by right-clicking on the origin within the editor like so. Of course, we can remove waivers here as well using the delete button or right-clicking on the waiver and deleting it. And it's also important to note here that all changes and edits done from the editor are updated once the properties are saved. No need to rerun the linting phase. So now that we know how to add, edit, and manage our waivers, let's now go quickly over how to save and export our waivers so that they may be used for other projects or designs. Both of these options are accessed again from within the waivers editor here. To save your waivers to a simple text report or log, simply click this button and a text file will be generated containing all of the current waiver information. And then to export your waivers to a .do file, simply click this button here and the necessary file will be generated. What this script does is set up all of the same waivers that were active during generation and applies them to the current project. This makes it a lot easier to apply some commonly used waivers to your other blank projects without having to manually set each one, as all you have to do is run the script. And that'll be it for this tutorial on waivers within ALINT-PRO. I hope it was informative for you, and of course, thanks for watching.